Fortunately, we don't reason like that. Anybody thinking that Igbo presidency 2023 will stop us? What we want is Biafra, and what we're going to get is Biafra. Fortunately, we don't reason like that. Anybody thinking that Igbo presidency 2023 will stop us? What we want is Biafra, and what we're going to get is Biafra.
We hereby declare no election, no 2023 general election in Biafra land. This no election in Biafra land has been activated. We are going to make it a task that must be done by every Biafran. All measures will be put in place to make sure the adequate civil disobedience is implemented to stop the election.
The Virtual Academy has been a huge shift for students this school year, learning new platforms, new tools, new skills, adjusting to new routines, new teachers, and of course a new normal. This can be overwhelming for students, not to mention those are just the challenges they faced in academics. Although conditions were not ideal, many students used the crucible of this year to become the strongest of students. The type of students that can manage their time, advocate for their learning, take risks in sharing and defending an opinion without being able to read a room, albeit a chat room, and to master learning in any environment. We quickly found that one such student was Ken Okorafor. Ken is a natural-born leader who is willing to volunteer to read, articulate his ideas to group discussions, and give alternative points of view to real-world issues. Ken is extremely considerate to others, letting teachers know when he may be late or miss class, completing his work on time, letting teachers know when they are muted, and students know when they are not. Despite his thoughtfulness, he will not let anything stand in the way of his passion for learning. He once wrote Mrs. Howell, "I know you're on your way to the hospital to give birth, but can you show me how to?" His teachers still get a chuckle over this. Although circumstances have often made learning a challenge for students across the world this school year, Ken used these challenges to become one of our hardest working and brightest students. For this reason, Ken Okorafor is our Student of the Year.
Congratulations, Ken. Congratulations.
A special day indeed. You're welcome, Biafrans and non-Biafrans, lovers of freedom all over the nations of the world. I want to greet you all today on the 27th day of October 2022. Today is Thursday, and it's a great privilege to be here and also to anchor this program again on Biafra Global Network. And my name is Kelechi Ambrose, and you're especially welcome wherever you are all over the nations of the world. This is a great day. And of course, as usual, every Thursday, our guest is in the house. And I'll be bringing him in very shortly. But first, I want you to understand something about this program. We are beginning to change the concept of our operation. Every Friday, we're going to be dealing, and Friday is going to be tagged Recreating Biafra. And the concept of Recreating Biafra is to begin to showcase the great Biafrans all over the nations of the world that are doing great things. And from the video I played last, you will understand that it was actually talking about a particular guy called Ken who has done something, who did something unique. You're going to hear more of Ken from our guest today. He's going to be telling us some special things about Ken today, using it to buttress the points he's going to be making today. This show, and therefore, is going to be focusing every Thursday. We're going to be focusing on people who are doing special things in Biafra, Biafrans who are doing great things, who are creative, who are idealistic, who are skillful, who are talented. We're going to be bringing them up here. We're going to also be interviewing some of them as we get them, and of course, we're going to be discussing how you and I can harness our talents and our gifting to see that we actually, get the best result in our land, Biafra, that is coming in less than 129 days from today. You know that we're getting into Biafra land very soon. Go Judith, thank you for joining, and you're the first person to comment today. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Greetings, Casey. Keep the fire burning. And without wasting time, I'm going to bring our guests into the studio. You all know him, and for those who are joining us for the first time, you will get to know him, and you might even know him, but you'll get to know him on this platform. He's going to be talking about some crucial things that concerns you and how you can harness your power, your inner capability, your aptitude, and everything that you have that Chukwu Okike has given to you to actually be a blessing to the land of Biafra. Remember, we are building a Biafra of difference. It's not going to be business as usual. It's not going to be the norm of I don't know how you think anyways, but I know that I am here in this world for something important, something very important that I need to fulfill. And to fulfill that thing, I must begin from home. And where is my home? Charity begins at home. That's what he said, which means that we must get our nation, which is our home, so that we can now spread from that point and get in all of the nations of the world. That is why we have dedicated Thursdays as the day to talk about recreating Biafra, where we're going to be anchoring and getting people who will be recreating Biafra, who are going to be using their talents and their gifting and everything they have to recreate Biafra. You are one of them. If you have what it takes, we're going to get you here too. We will showcase you to the world and know that as soon as Biafra comes, you become a very effective tool to that effect. Thank you so much for those of you who have joined and who are listening from everywhere, all over the nations of the world and watching. Without wasting time, I'm going to bring our guests into the studio. Prince Ezem Ihanacho. Thank you, sir. You are welcome to this day, this special day. In fact, you are looking special today, sir. Thank you so much for coming in and dedicating your time as always, as you would always do. Please, Biafrans want to hear your voice one more time again.
Thank you, Kelechi. Good morning from here. And good morning to all Biafrans, whether they are here or somewhere else. Once you're a genuine Biafran, I send my greetings to you. And I want to remind you that you're here for a purpose, just like Kelechi has said. You're here for a purpose, and the worst crime on earth is for you not to recognize that you're here for a purpose. Or you try to stop somebody else from achieving their purpose. These are the two worst crimes on earth, because I will take out my time to make sure people understand our various journeys into this world. By the time you understand it, you will never allow anybody to get in your way of achieving your particular goal in this world. By the time you get to know our respective journey into this world, oh my God, you will never attempt to be in somebody else's square, and you will never allow anybody to be in your way. Okay, and we'll get to that. But right now, I say welcome and good morning to you all from my end.
Good morning. Good morning to you, sir, and thank you for coming. As always, you always honor us here by coming to speak to Biafrans. We are grateful. Biafra is the nation to build, and Biafra is going to be coming, and is going to be restored in the next 129 days. We are certain, we are sure, we are confident of that fact, because Chukwu Okike has made it possible and have determined it to be so. We are going to be talking about every Biafran. because we want to change the world, the pattern of the reasoning of the world and the way the world has been treating humans, but we want to begin it from Biafra. That is why what we are doing is particularly, primarily from the basis of Biafra. And that is why we want our sovereignty, so that we can actually get to utilize what we have to develop Biafra and also to improve the world. Now, recreating Biafra. Every Thursday, we're going to be discussing about recreating Biafra and showcasing people who actually have what it takes to recreate Biafra. Now, we're going to be looking at that word recreating, so that people will understand the place of that word in what we're trying to do in the new Biafra. But first, we're going to look at the people. We want to look at the people. And when you talk about people, you talk about personalities, you talk about purpose, you talk about process, and you talk about destination. So which means that every person has a purpose, has a personality, then moving to the point of identifying purpose, and then of course taking purpose through a process to destination. As a nation also, we are going to talk about our personality, and we're going to talk about our purpose. We're going to talk about the process to achieve what we have to achieve. We're going to talk about our destination as Biafrans. But first, sir, I want you to talk about personality. Who are we as Biafrans?
I would like to begin by saying that the people we are as Biafrans had already been predestined. You see, everything God created, God gave a physical and spiritual meaning. So you don't look at something just from a physical side. Everything you see has a spiritual connotation. If you plug into God, that spiritual side will be revealed. Because of our mortal side, which is very, very physical and very basic, our eyes can't see deeply into these things. Now, in everything you look at your 5 fingers, it tells you the uniqueness in each of them. So Biafra is very unique. And you see, just like any other place is unique, Biafra is unique. I want to bring about or revealing some of the contents in Biafra that people haven't appreciated. And you see, the truth about this life is that you are uniquely gifted, but if for any reason you don't identify your uniqueness, whether it is by self-infliction or other people made it that you couldn't reveal your true self, you become contaminated. And you become crazy, actually, because whatever else you're doing wouldn't be your calling. I can illustrate this with even when you prepare a beautiful soup. That soup is so beautiful, but you got to look after it, nurture it, in order to retain its taste. If you do not do what you ought to do, the soup agba oka, and the agba oka, you have a problem. It's difficult then to bring it back to what it used to be. You can see all that led me to believe that my primary work for Biafra will be at the kindergarten level, the primary school level, because a lot of those who claim to be Biafrans, abaloka, it's difficult to turn them around. Ordinarily, it is impossible to be a Biafran without something very special. Let me reveal something. Well, it's not even revelation because it's all everywhere. Those who haven't latched onto it should go and look out for the book by one Reverend Father I actually lived with some time ago, called Reverend Father Emefena. The title of the book is called In Biafra, Africa Died. Okay? In Biafra, Africa died. People need to understand that there is something God, because every individual, every community, every country, every continent, okay? Just like we have different food types. If you check it, Nrindi Igbo and Nrindi Yoruba are different. Okay? Nrindi, everywhere you go in the world, everything is unique. So in that way, God gifted every community with different kind of wisdom. Okay? Now, the problem then stems from how people begin to organize themselves in order to tease out these gifts. And also how people organize themselves in order to repress others in preventing these gifts. This is where the problem lies. In Biafra, God gifted Biafrans the sort of gift that illuminates the world. And that is why, let me tell you, that is why the magnitude of darkness trying to hold Biafra down is unimaginable. I mean, yesterday I was listening to Simon Eba, where he was talking about somebody, what's the name now? Somebody whom Mazin Nandekano had expelled some time ago, who now happened to find a way to come back. In fact, it was alleged in that broadcast that this chap knew about the kidnap of Mazin Nandekano during that period. This guy, from what Mazi Eba said, is rotten to the core. And this is somebody we call a Biafran. I'm quite sure some of you will remember his name. I wasn't too particular about his name. I was more concerned about all that he was doing. And I think he was behind the opening of an office claiming to have become Biafran government in exile or something, which they opened in somewhere in Washington. Now, why I'm pointing at this particular guy is just to let you know the level of darkness, the level of evil trying to prevent what Biafra is coming to do. The devil does not pursue those already in the bag. As a fisherman, you're not bothered with the fishes that you have already put inside the bag. You're bothered, you are after the ones that are still on the loose. That is what the devil does. So the type of madness, the type of opposition trying to stop Biafra from inside Biafra and from outside. I mean, Mazin Nandekano saw all these things. And he made it clear that the amount of mountains, not just one mountain, mountains. People need to understand it is because of what Biafra means and what Biafra is coming to do. All the forces of darkness in this world, okay, are against it. All the forces of darkness. Even the American Foreign Secretary had to, they only remember Nigeria when it comes to election, because that is where they strike the chord that enables them to come and steal. That is only during elections that you see Europeans flying in, because they are coming to set up the place in such a way that there will be constant chaos, so that they will be milking. Apart from that, you go to them for any other thing, they will tell you Nigeria is an entity unto itself. We can't do anything about it. But the only thing they're ready to do something about is to choose who leads, so that there is chaos in the land. So that, because all they are after is natural resources. That's all their eyesight can. They have not developed yet to understand that the individuals are more important than whatever their eyes can see. So I want Biafrans to know that there is something very unique about Biafra, very special, something that no human being can even articulate fully, because even that clip that Kelechi showed, when you get to know something about the 15-year-old we are talking about, then you will understand the type of unique gifts God has given to Biafrans.
Yes,
that will spearhead. I'm sorry, that will spearhead the light onto the darkness of this world. That is why all the dark forces in this world, from within and from outside, are fighting tooth and nail. So don't be frustrated when you hear stories of all these saboteurs, because it is the level of, you see, to whom much is given, much is expected. A lot is actually in Biafra. And something, look, if you know the amount of evil trying to stop Biafra, you will know that Biafra is here, because God has destined Biafra to come this time, and no amount of evil forces will stop it. And that's why we're here, to make sure that you understand where we're going. Okay? When you look at somebody like Peter Obi, you will see what the devil is doing, trying to use Peter Obi to confuse everybody. And thanks goodness that even before Mazi Nnamdi Kanu got into this thing that he is in now, he saw it well on time and warned everybody that we must not be derailed by such a madness. He saw it. He saw these things. Okay? So I want every Biafran to understand that what has been deposited inside you, you need to preserve it. And you need to stay steady so that we can guarantee this Biafra in order to now unleash the sort of environment that will enable your unique talents to come to the fore. And when it comes to the fore, the whole world will now begin to marvel. My God, is this what mortal beings are created for? Is this how we ought to have been living? The world will become ashamed and embarrassed that they followed a dark alley, that they were operating blind all this while, because Biafra will introduce righteousness to this world, will introduce and announce the kingdom of heaven on earth. That our Lord's prayer is real. Okay? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That prayer you cannot play with. There was a reason why that prayer was introduced, and that reason is Biafra. So I want to remind all of you that you are carrying something very important and very unique. Don't be an obstacle to Biafra, because if you are, remember Pharaoh and remember all those with Pharaoh who tried to stop the Israelites from leaving. They were consumed. Don't play with God who made this earth. Don't play with God. So you must be on the right side. There are no middle grounds. You are either for or you are against. So this is the time. Please carry on,
we are looking at, we are trying to, unravel who we are, because sometimes people don't actually maximize the fullness of what they carry because they lack information about who they are. Now, I'm going to play that video again of that boy Ken, that 15-year-old boy Ken that your friends and son. Yes, and I would want you to use him as an analysis, to make a brief analysis on who you are. Let me play that video again so that Biafrans, please, Biafrans, just watch this video keenly and listen to what is said about that boy. That boy is a Biafran, a complete Biafran. His parents are Biafrans. Just listen to what is said about Ken. He is just 15 years old. And I want you to listen very, very attentively to this video.
The Virtual Academy has been a huge shift for students this school year, learning new platforms, new tools, new skills, adjusting to new routines, new teachers, and of course a new normal. This can be overwhelming for students, not to mention those are just the challenges they faced in academics. Although conditions were not ideal, many students used the crucible of this year to become the strongest of students. The type of students that can manage their time, advocate for their learning, take risks in sharing and defending an opinion without being able to read a room, albeit a chat room, and to master learning in any environment. We quickly found that one such student was Ken Okorafor. Ken is a natural-born leader who is willing to volunteer to read, articulate his ideas to group discussions, and give alternative points of view to real-world issues. Ken is extremely considerate to others, letting teachers know when he may be late or miss class, completing his work on time, letting teachers know when they are muted, and students know when they are not. Despite his thoughtfulness, he will not let anything stand in the way of his passion for learning. He once wrote Mrs. Howell, "I know you're on your way to the hospital to give birth, but can you show me how to?" His teachers still get a chuckle over this. Although circumstances have often made learning a challenge for students across the world this school year, Ken used these challenges to become one of our hardest working and brightest students. For this reason, Ken Okorafor is our student of the year.
Congratulations, Ken. Congratulations.
Now, Ken, the brightest student. Now, we want to look at it critically. How did Ken achieve this?
Well, I mean, I stumbled into Ken even by accident. In fact, well, I'm still waiting to meet with him face to face because I happened to play tennis with the father, and what actually brought about Ken was that as we were about to leave, his father's phone began to ring. When he picked it up, there was Ken saying to the father, "Oh, Dad, because it was on loudspeaker, Dad, I hadn't seen you today, so I wanted to check up on you to be sure you're okay." I was moved. And the father began to tell me about Ken and all the awards that he had won. The one that was so moving to me wasn't even this video, because he later on showed me this video. The one that was so moving was when he now told me a story, because you are looking at Ken, he's the best student in mathematics, he's the best student when it comes to behavior. And he told me that as he walked into the house one day, for the first time, Ken, his son, says, "Shh, shh." And the father was sort of shocked that his son would be saying, "Shh." But then he quickly realized that Ken was on the phone trying to put another student through a mathematical he was trying to sort of instruct another student on how to solve a mathematical problem. And the dad sort of developed a bit of interest in listening in. And there was Ken talking about X, this, Y, that, and all the rest of it. Well, I'm sorry, my phone, somebody was trying to get through. So as the father was listening in, he was hearing all these things, and then that actually made him listen. But he could not. He could not. The father couldn't tell me point by point what was being said. But what the real crux of this matter is that
before you go on, go on so that our listeners will get the full detail of what you're trying to say. I don't know if you can refresh.
Is there a problem?
Yes, that the audio has gone very, very.
Yeah, I think somebody. Now let me go out and come back in again.
Yes, so that we can get you very clearly. Very clearly. Now, Ken is a 15-year-old boy, and he's a Biafran. And you're going to hear a fantastic story about him. And he, actually, I heard, according to the story also, that he was able to compose a particular theory, and all of that, and which he himself composed. And you're going to hear that. And I wish, I'm going to talk to Prince, Ezem, we want to have Ken. If we can have Ken here next week, Thursday, let's see how we're going to make that arrangement, because we want to interview him and get to know how his mind is working. Now, because it is important for us to know how the minds of our people are working, and especially when they are actually motivated to do some things unique in their time. Remember, we are here because we have to fulfill a purpose, and we must understand that we are writing history by what we do. And if you don't understand that, then you would see every time that passes as a time to eat food, eat eba, eat gari, eat anything you want to eat, wake up in the morning, go out, work, eat in the morning, eat in the afternoon, eat at night, go back home, sleep, wake up again, all of that. It becomes a routine. But if you understand what you have come for, then you will begin to maximize every moment of your time. Let's listen to Ken again. Let's listen to the story of Ken from our guest. Please, so you can go on with the story.
Yeah, in fact, I can't remember exactly where I stopped, but I think the most important thing here about Ken.
He told his father, shh, at that point. I think
that's right. Yeah, so, but the critical thing here was that the guy at the other end now said to Ken, how did you come about this X so and so? Okay? I'm going to get the details of this from Ken himself, so that when I'm now talking about it, I wish we can relate it.
Get Ken here next week Thursday, so we can interview him. Is it possible for you to make that?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm able to do it next week Thursday, but I'm going to be working on it. Okay. And then I will let you know when he's ready, because it's important we capture the sort of thing that God had put in Biafrans. Very important. Now, the other guy now asked Ken, but then how did you come about this X so and so? Ken told him, it is my own invention. I invented it. 15-year-old. It is my invention. I invented it.
Wow.
So you see, and I want to go back into history a bit so people understand. At times, people don't appreciate why starvation became a weapon of war in Biafra. Starvation, food blockage to stop Biafrans. Let me tell you, in the history of mankind, Biafra began early to prove to the world that there is natural wisdom, natural light in it. The whole world knew about it. Because, let me be very frank, what we fought in between 1967 and 1970 was a world war. Okay? Because Biafrans were not fighting against Nigeria. Biafrans were fighting against Britain, America, because wherever Britain leaned, there you saw America. Russia, they suddenly realized that these people, if you let them be, the whole of Africa will no longer be a place to come and steal and kill. Okay? Everything they did, even to refuse us from having arms, okay? Biafrans were still producing weapons by themselves, homemade grenades, homemade. Everybody had about a Bunigwe, locally made. They couldn't stop Biafra for 3 years. They had to introduce this food hunger business so that they can wipe out, so that people can starve and die from starvation. That is how far That was how far these people were able to go in order to stop Biafra. Now, and of course, as soon as the war ended, one of the first things they did very quickly was to go and shut down the mechanical department in UNN. Okay, they shut it down because they claimed that that's where all the ammunition that Ojukwu was building were coming from. And every higher institution that has a mechanical department was shut down. Since then, we have been facing crippling madness in order to subdue the ingenuity of Biafrans. I think people need to understand the evils of this world. Biafrans ordinarily haven't come into this world to be fighting wars, because a genuine Biafran appreciates the reason for creation and the reasons why mortal beings are on this earth. Our mission on this earth is not to come and build arms, because the whole essence of building arms is to kill human beings. We are not here to kill anybody. If we are going to build arms, our arms will be primarily for defense. Okay? Our arms, as far as my own thoughts are, will be for total defense, that you won't even want to try, so that mortal beings can be allowed to exhibit the reasons for being part of this equation. And we are going to introduce new appropriate knowledge, because currently we are operating with vicious, evil, wrong knowledge. Okay? Who told anybody in this world that mortal beings are here to live like animals? Who told you? I've examined the animal kingdom. I've taken my time, because part of what I am gifted is to analyze things, and I get to the root of it. I don't do all these. I don't go by what people say. I don't believe. Look, the scripture told me already. The scripture told me that the heart of man is profoundly wicked. Okay, and very deceitful. As soon as I knew it, I knew that what people are telling me, even on the in the media, okay, might not be the truth, because the scripture had already worked out that the heart of man is deceitful and wicked. And then when I took out my time to each thing I look at, each thing I analyze, I began to find, oh my God, this is all lies everywhere. Okay. You don't need to go to school to work out the uniformity, the what we call, homogeneity of animals from species to species. They are homogeneous from species to species. Once you work it out, then you know that all this nonsense you hear from whether he calls himself Charles Darwin or not, these are mad people. These are mad, crazy people. They tried everything to confuse the mind of man and tell you how either you are primates to apes or you evolved from apes. But when you bring the whole thing closer, you say, well, there are still apes in this world. If the process actually was that people evolved from apes, then that process must be ongoing. It can't just stop. At least we should be finding some apes right now that are about to graduate into mortal beings. We are still seeing apes. They are born as apes, they live as apes, and they die as apes. Oh, well. And we are still seeing mortal beings. They are born as mortal beings, they live as mortal beings, and they die as mortal beings. How long? What is the lifespan of an ape to be able to graduate into a human being? You find that that is all madness. Oh, they tell you, oh, no. But the thing is that you are primates. You share the same type of biological. What rubbish? Primates? What made me primate with an ape that eats the same food naturally wherever you see an ape? Wherever you see an ape, they have the same food type and they can't vary it. Okay? They can't vary it. What apes eat in Asia Ape eats in Africa. Ape eats wherever you see ape. What's more is that no ape can cultivate, let alone reproduce what it eats. And what is even more frightening is that a 3-year ape, because every animal, as far as I have studied them, every animal nurture very briefly because they are here to play a standardized role organized by nature. And it is only us that can alter it, but we can only alter it with limitations. Okay? So you look at every animal, it doesn't matter which one. Their activities are basic from species to species. Basic, and it's across the world. They can't alter anything. They can't have they can't experiment. They can't say, okay, well, there is no negotiations. No, everything is standardized according to how nature organized them. The only time you see an animal begin to do something different or something that is not authorized by nature is when mortal beings, using the free will and the autonomy God had given only us, to influence what that animal does. You see, so by the time I realized all this, I thought to myself, how foolish are these idiots? These are fools. Because you see, and I couldn't find any other word to call them than fools. Because the evil they have brought upon humanity just by that singular madness is yet untold. We may tell these evils when Biafra comes, so people can see the level of madness these people introduced by just that singular act of reducing mortal beings to sub-animal level in order to destroy themselves. Because we lost sight of what we are here to do just by that singular madness. Oh, and you can see liars. You see, what you find with liars is that they are not steady. They jump from one thing to the other. Oh, they started from, you evolved from apes into human beings. They found that that couldn't work because apes are still here. Apes are still here and they are still, none of them is evolving. They moved to, oh, no, you are primates to apes. Oh, when we argued that and they couldn't, oh, they say, oh, no, you are higher animals. You're higher and more intelligent animals. Can you see how they're moving? And then they came to this notion of, oh, well, but we are basically animals. Yeah? Now, each of these things you examine, you find that these are liars. Look at this aspect of you are higher and the more intelligent animal. A complete nonsense. Now, let me tell you why it is nonsense. If mortal beings are higher animals, what is a horse or what is a dog compared to a goat? Can you answer, Ambrose?
Mid-higher animal.
No. What is a dog compared to a goat?
That is where the stupidity is, because there's no
No, because let me tell you something. In the animal kingdom itself, you have the higher animals. Okay? In the animal kingdom itself, all animals are not operating at the same level of intelligence. It is proven. Okay? What you can get a dog to do, you can never get a sheep to do it. What you can get a horse to do, what some horses will do, no goat, no sheep can try it.
Definitely.
So in the animal kingdom itself, yes, there are higher animals. So how come a mortal being that is responsible for the reproduction, a mortal being that work in partnership with nature to reproduce what animals eat, is now classified as a higher animal? If that is the case, what is a dog compared to a goat? I
want us to, because now it's obvious now, obviously, that they actually want to reduce the standard of, because these are the things they have brought into our curriculum so that we keep learning them and begin to look at ourselves as low as what we are, whatever they think we are, and what they have tried to make us to look like. Now, the concept of having to understand who we are, that we're even not animals in the first place, not to talk about being higher animals, you know, I think should be the platter or the platform on which we can begin to look at how we can accelerate from that point, you know, so that we can now begin to understand who we are as a people. But now I want you to talk about this. What are the restrictions, you know, that have actually made Biafrans, because you mentioned and said what we are, you mentioned some things and talked about who we are as a people, you know, and how effective and what they have seen in us, the gifting we have and all of that, and aside our resources and all of that, what they have seen that we are capable of doing, and because of that, they are seeking to make sure that they suppress us and keep us low. And in spite of the suppression, we find most Biafrans, like Ken, doing great things. Now, on what premise or what do you think can be, you know, has been the point of the limitations that we have experienced, and from what point do you think we can take off, or do you think that the issue of slavery and all of these factors and all of that has actually hampered the way we actually view ourselves? And how now do we rescue ourselves from such kind of situation so that we can now begin to effectively utilize who we are, and since we have now come to understand that we're not animals?
You see, when I say that Biafra is coming to bring light to the world, it is for a particular reason. That reason being that I understand the workings of this human endeavor. I understand it very well. I don't claim the credit for it. I believe it is God in me that is revealing these things to me. So I see them deeper. I don't know. There may be other people that see, but the place where God is taking my brain to is mind-boggling. It's important we realize that Biafrans have been hampered everywhere in the world. Using Ken as an example, I need you to know that, first of all, whenever a Biafran is in an environment where they are allowed to strive, you find their talent emerge. However, no matter how those talents emerge, they are still restricted. Because let me tell you, when you go to Europe, when you go to America, any country you go to that we classify as organized in quote, people need to know that there are custodians of those organizations you see. So there are parameters that you cannot exceed. Okay? Somebody like Ken could have multiples of inventions. As I'm speaking to you now, I've got numerous theories, numerous concepts that are human friendly and human compatible, because what I have done is to look at all these animal concepts that are depriving humanity, and I've destroyed them. And I'll give you examples of why they cannot be part of anything to do with human existence. And that's why in Biafra, we are looking to introduce new curriculum that is based on truth and that is based on relativity. Because if it does not relate to us, we don't have any need for it. Now, these countries that you might think are enabling people to flourish still are restricting Biafrans, because I can assure you, some of the theories I carry, some of the narratives I carry, for example, Britain won't allow me to introduce them because now it would destroy their animal kingdom philosophies. And that is not what they want. because they are fixated in the ideology that whatever it is they have structured is for their benefit. And they don't care how else it is destroying humanity. Because what they don't know is that when you have destroyed another or the other, you have destroyed yourself, because the other has got something in them for your own benefit. Because everybody is uniquely gifted, but with limitations. This is how blind they are. So the reason why we must have Biafra is that Biafra is the only soil where Biafrans will unleash all their potentials. And we will, because you see, the type of Biafra we are looking at is that for you to introduce anything in Biafra, you got to show us what it is, and you got to show us the theory surrounding what it is you are bringing, and you're going to show us the benefits, and you're also going to show us the shortfalls. And when we buy into anything, we build a structure around it, so that once we know that this thing is for our posterity, we'll build a structure around it so that it is going to become a continuum. Okay, that is what destroyed Biafra in the first instance, because people were just doing things from an automatic level, like animal, naturally. They did not formalize things in theories and cast them in action so that it will continue to reproduce for Biafra. I'm sorry, somebody is calling me, and when they make this call, it interrupts.
The voice has gone. The voice has gone. The voice is gone.
So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I may have to. Let me just. I think I have to come back in again.
All right. I think it will help us. It will help us. It's actually going to help us. Now, dear friends, you understand this, because everywhere we are, all over the nations of the world, no matter how gifted we are, we cannot do anything effectively except we have our nation. Except we have our nation. And that is the purpose. Today is every Thursday we want to actually have this dedicated moment to actually utilize it as a means of accessing what we can do, so that those people who have these opportunities of knowing what we can do and the things we are capable of will know that they cannot excel unless we have our nation. And that is the crux of the matter. Having our nation, having our own nation. That is the only way you can look at Ken. He's abroad, he's in the US, but he cannot exude whatever he has. He cannot fully utilize these things because he's in a place where he's restricted. The system will not allow him to actually maximize what he has, and they cannot accept what he has to give him the credit. Remember this man, what's the name of this man now? I can't remember his name now. This sir, you remember this man, what's the name of this Anambra man now that actually did so many things, brought about an innovation on the computer. I've forgotten his name now.
Philip.
Yes. You see that somebody like that, people like that are not actually pronounced. Philip, I can't remember his name.
Philip.
Emma Gwalem, yes, that's his name. Now, please talk about all of this, because Biafrans need to know why we want our nation. Biafrans need to know this.
It is very. You see why I believe in metaphors in terms of introducing topics. Metaphors help us to see deeper. You see, when you look at the seeds and the soil, okay, you have to consider Biafra and Biafrans as seeds. Some seeds are very special in a way that they require special soil in order to maximize their potential.
That's it.
Biafra is a unique seed that requires to be in a unique soil to bring out all its beauty. Biafra is not meant. Biafrans can go across the world and deposit aspects of them, but the wholeness of a Biafran is only harnessable within Biafran system, because that is where the real soil is, to harness what a Biafran carries.
So this a kind of people are put in a particular soil to actually be very, very effective.
Yes, yes.
So we have to have
yes, and if you look at the whole thing, what people are trying to do is to poison our soil. So you can't be, when you see the Fulanese, when you see the British, when you see France coming in, trying to, they are looking to pollute the soil so that nothing good can come of it. They've managed to restrict people's ingenuity. When I was listening to Katrina Lang some time ago, the British, I shout, the real leader in Nigeria, where he was talking about the new program they have, where they're coming to take the best students and enable them to be moved abroad. And so it tells you the wickedness and evil of these people. So what they're doing is they're taking whatever they believe is good to go and benefit themselves, even whilst restricting those people, because they can only take what they believe they need. But there are certain aspects of the same individuals, certain aspects that are meant for humanity, but those ones will be destroyed. So they are only taking a little that they believe is meant for their own system. And then they are creating environment down home where nothing good can flourish, where nothing. When you look at this and then you think these are mortal beings that came out of a woman's womb just because two people indulged in sexual activity, you shiver, you go crazy. When you remember that the people doing this are people who did not bring anything into this world, and they're not going to live with any of these of them. They can't take anything out of this world. When you remember that these people are mad, oh, your whole system will go into shivers. And in a world where God gifted every man, every woman with autonomy, free will, choice, okay, and told us to, in fact, our real essence here is to replenish the earth, and he gifted us dominion over the earth, not to dominate one another, but to work collectively to take control of this world, because we are here not only to provide for ourselves, but to provide for animals. That is why only mortal beings can engage the soil with the seed in order to reproduce things. Only mortal beings can go out there and carry out experiments. Now, you see, when you understand everything, you will see why I scream sometimes. You lose a bit of control because you can't understand what brought mortal beings to this level of madness. You see, when I used to watch Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I enjoyed a lot of what he was saying, but part of me, because of the same structure, the same system, the same conditioning, you begin to feel, but I think he's going too far, he's getting too angry. It is only because you are not seeing what he is seeing.
That's it.
Once you see what he is seeing, you might become crazier than him.
That's right.
Okay, so, but I tell you something, I am so overjoyed because Biafra is here. And the true opportunity to illuminate the world with light is here. The devil is doing its final phase, okay? Because okay, you can't kill anything living and it dies immediately. It's going to do that before it finishes. So the devil is having its final battles. When Biafra comes, the world will regret having put itself through this madness, because what we have been through is just total madness. And it's important that Biafra comes now, very critical, because when you understand the blueprint laid out, which these Europeans are following, you would know that you must stop this now. Otherwise, you come back to this world 10,000 years to come, you will find your children going through worse than you are going through now. Because it's in blueprint. The evil is in blueprint. The genocide against Africans is something that is scheduled periodically. That's why they will tell you, oh, don't worry, they can keep having children. They have earmarked the period when they are going to come and reduce your population whenever they choose. You will start hearing them, okay? And you see the devil is a liar. Let me tell you, the devil is a liar, because the devil will never be, if you scrutinize what the devil says, if you take our time and forget about big grammar, analyze those grammar, you find that the devil is only lying. The devil is confused. They will come by telling you, oh, there are too many people in Africa. In fact, somebody like Prince Philip will claim that the number of Africans, the way Africans is actually hampering animals. That means it's telling you now that your population is disturbing animals. Okay, that tells you that they prefer your animals to you.
Oh my.
Then you say, okay, let's for argument's sake agree with him. Let us scrutinize the number of people living in Africa as a continent. Don't forget, they recreated Africa to represent a continent.
Yes.
You look at the number of people living in Africa as a continent, and you find that they're not even up to 1.3 billion. They're not up to that. This is a continent. I hope people understand what a continent means. That means multiples of countries in one place. Yeah? And then you compare that continent, Africa, with a country called China. You find that, oh, a country called China have more people, over 1.3 billion, living in it as a country.
Yeah.
More than the continent of Africa. Yet people are telling you that there are more people in Africa.
Yeah.
Hey, you begin to feel sorry for the level of madness. And that's why I have come to the realization that psychiatry, and I mean it, and I'm ready to defend it anywhere, any day. It is my belief, and I have captured it in one of my writings, that psychiatry is actually a fraud. The same type of fraud as Nigeria, which they tell you is a country. Psychiatry is a fraud against the weak, the poor, and the vulnerable. Because if psychiatry was not a fraud, it would have captured people like Prince William, who thinks population of Africa is disturbing animals. They need to do something about it. Now, I keep telling these people that believe that mortal beings can overpopulate the earth, that, well, if they really believe that, if they are really honest, nobody is stopping them from taking an exit. After all, we are all visitors to the world.
Definitely.
You can't just turn up in somebody else's house in a party, because we've all turned up in this world that is somebody else's property, and none of us built the world, okay? So you can't just turn up in somebody else's party and suddenly you start complaining there is just too many people here. Too many people here. Okay, if there are too many people here, you leave.
Of course.
You go back to where you came from.
Of course.
Okay, your job is not to start organizing with others as to how to eliminate people. When you will eventually leave yourself, you will depart yourself. That is telling you how crazy these people are. And let me tell you what they also don't know, and why Biafra must come to correct all this madness. Another thing they don't know is that there are two ingredients in this world that God placed in mortal beings. two special ingredients. You see, God, the reason why nobody, forget about what science tells you, nobody can give you a true calculation of the length and breadth of this world. Don't worry about all these scientific calculations. They are all guesswork. I'm telling you, there is nobody that can give you the accurate. Don't forget that at a point they told us that the world was flat, and everybody agreed that it was flat. Everybody agreed. They tell you, oh no, science has proven it. Oh, your science is all flat. Until somebody says, no, I'm seeing this as round. Oh, it is looking round. In fact, at the time they were saying it's round, they say, oh, bring him to kill him. Kill him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. We've already agreed that it is flat. The people who want to benefit from the fact that it is flat, we are fighting the ones saying, I'm seeing it as round, though, because in every nonsense, some people are benefiting from it.
Definitely.
Because if you, for example, if you change it from flat to round, those who wrote and claimed, those who are making earnings from writing that it was flat, will now stop earning. Okay, so just like you have Mazin, Simon Eba and DOS, okay? In everything you see, there are evil people guiding even evil agenda that is destroying humanity that will fight you when you begin to say the right things. They fight you. That is because they think they are benefiting something. And then oh, they now say, oh, this man is right. Oh, the world is actually round. And everybody jumped onto the bandwagon of the world being round. Somebody else said, oh, no, I'm seeing this thing. It's looking, it's spherical. Spherical. Yes. Do you know that is where we are today?
That's it. That's where we are.
Yes. But let me tell you, that's why I tell you that nobody, even this spherical business, it is still the much they can see. Tomorrow it can change again. Have you heard me say that nobody in this world has anything original to them? No. And nobody will ever deposit anything that is perfect or without room for improvement. If you don't even know what is going on in this head, because I can't thank God enough. Now, I still want to reveal the two things human beings are here to do, because it's very important we understand it. When you understand it, then you will understand how crazy people like Prince Williams are when they tell you, oh, there is too many people in Africa. You begin to understand how crazy these people are. He's not the only one with that view. I think his father has the same view. I believe a lot of Europeans, in fact, Bill Gates have the same view. A lot of them. These are crazy people, and I'm ready for them to sue me so I can come to court and prove that they are crazy. Okay, perhaps that's when they begin to have proper treatment to correct the abnormality in their brains, because these people, they didn't build this world, you didn't create this world, you were just a mere accidental byproduct of two strangers' sexual intercourse. You knew nothing, you just got into this world, and you were so vulnerable when you came. Other people were totally responsible for your nurturing and your survival. And then suddenly you start telling us who should die and who shouldn't die. If that is not madness, then madness does not exist. Now, I want to tell you the two things God put in mortal beings. Just like I have told you right now, that the true size of this world, shape of this world, is yet to be revealed. We are still... So, but what I want you to know is that God built the world to be elasticated. The world is elastic. Okay? I'm gonna make sure you appreciate that, because from the things that God deposited in all of us individually, you will now understand that the world is elastic. Okay? Now, the other thing God made sure of was to make sure that in this world, there is what we call limitless resources. Okay? So you can't calculate, it's impossible to calculate the resources in this world. Impossible. Anybody that comes to tell you that science has revealed the amount of resources in this world, just get that person, put them in detention, and start giving them antipsychotic medication because they are crazy. Now let me show you when I say the world is elastic and the resources in it are limitless. Do you know that the reason for the elasticity of the world and the limitless resources in it is simply because these two things are deposited into mortal beings? People think they are out there. No, people think you see, this is why I talk about discernment of the spirit. The spirit will reveal these things to you. I want our listener now to take this home, write it down, take it home, because this is your power. Okay? The elasticity of the world, that is the expansion of this world, God put it in mortal beings. The limitless resources in this world, God also put it in mortal beings. That is why, I'm going to explain it, but that is why it is impossible for mortal beings to overpopulate the earth. Because the expansion of this world is embedded in mortal beings. The extraction of the limitless resources is also embedded in mortal beings. Ask me how. Ask me how.
Please tell us how.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me the privilege of explaining why the expansion of the world is deposited in mortal beings, and the extraction of the world's natural resources is also deposited in human beings. First of all, I'll begin by asking you this question. What else and who else is capable of converting a river into land and building on it? What else or who else? Sorry?
Mortal beings.
Thank you. Thank you. That is expansion. Who else and what else can build skyscraper? Skyscraper. That means instead of having one person living on one spot, you can have 5,000 people living on one spot, but with who can an animal do that?
Never.
Can an angel do that?
Never.
Even God, can God do that?
He is God.
God
does not need to
now
sleep.
I need you to now I want you to see, I want you to notice something because it's important.
Yeah.
Now listen to this. God had to put us here in the physical realm that he can walk with us and through us to build these things, to do these things.
That's right.
Because the imagination to do these things are embedded in mortal beings. That is why I am telling you that you cannot see a bridge across a river without it being from mortal beings. That tells you that it is in us that the expansion of the world can take place. Okay? It is through the unique gifts God gifted to each of us. These gifts are unique. Without the uniqueness of ideas, without the complementary nature and the collaboration nature, that is why the scripture tells you it must take two or more. And that is the problem I have with people like Mark Zuckerberg, who want to claim ownership of Facebook. And I'm telling them, look, even if you had the idea for Facebook, you couldn't have done it by yourself. Somebody had to bring another idea to collaborate and complement yours. And it doesn't matter how much ideas you have shared. If people do not subscribe to what you're bringing, there will not be any success for Facebook. So don't go claiming it's all about you. You're mad to even think that. This is what these people are blind to. They don't understand that the expansion of this world is embedded in that new baby. You see, the new baby being born now, God has deposited in that child something unique to help in the expansion of the world. And that unique thing in that baby, if you kill that baby now, you have denied humanity of that thing, because nobody else will ever carry that. This is how blind human beings are, or mortal beings are. Now, have I managed to answer you about the expansion of the world?
Very well.
Are you happy with that?
Very well. Very well.
Now, let me deal with the extraction of the limitless resources in this world, so you can begin to feel sorry for these mad lunatics pretending to be civilized, pretending to be righteous, telling you how academically educated they are, how diplomatic they are, how they are the statespeople, they are the opinion leaders, how crazy these people are. Let's look at extraction of the limitless resources in this world. Let me start by asking you, if you want, you can Google it. Do you know that 300 years ago, okay, let's call it 400 years ago, there was nothing called crude oil? Do you know that?
Sure.
Do you know that?
Sure.
Okay. Who, what, and who? Okay, what else in this world would have introduced crude oil to this world other than mortal beings?
That's it.
Who gave crude oil the name it has?
Mortal beings.
Who gave it the meaning it has?
Mortal beings.
And who gave it the value it has?
Mortal beings.
Right. Do you know that if you want me to prove it further, I will tell you that mortal beings can decide to devalue crude oil, and it will have no meaning again. It will return back to what it used to be. Nobody will, 200 years to come, nobody would know unless they read about it. They will not know that it existed.
Sure.
Right. I want to now use another thing to show you that when it comes to extraction of the world's limitless resources, only mortal beings can do it. But they have to work in partnership with Chukwuokike through nature to do it. They can't do it on their own. It's impossible. Because once you're working with the other person, you're working with God. You can't do it by yourself, nothing. You know the thing we call, the paper we call money. The paper we call money. It's so funny. It's so funny. You know the paper we call money that people used to betray Mazin Nandekan, and people are killing themselves for. Do you know how it came about? Okay, tell me the sources through which we have that paper. Tell me the sources.
From trees created by.
No, don't tell me who created it. Don't worry. I just wanted to know where they came from. You see, you can't have paper, any paper at all, let alone go through the process of creating money without having trees, cotton, linen. Yeah? The question is, when we came into this world, was there anything called money? The answer is no. Paper money, no. It wasn't here. Now, and we also know that when we came in empty-handed. So we didn't bring the tree. We brought no tree into this world.
Sure.
We brought no cotton into this world.
Sure.
We brought no linen into this world.
Sure.
But God was willing to work with us through nature to begin to develop the idea that brought about. So can I now ask you, Who or what made the money?
Mortal beings.
Who or what gave money its name?
Mortal beings.
Who or what gave money its meaning?
Mortal beings.
Who or what gives money the value it has?
Mortal beings.
I bless you and I thank you. Now, what that is telling you is that there is nothing on earth that has meaning, okay? That has a name, that has value without mortal beings. What God laid on this earth before any of us arrived were just the raw materials. God made us the builders. God made us the builders. We only came and met raw materials. And when we were working with God through divisions, through what, look, we would not ever have flown if we did not see the birds of this earth. We wouldn't have flown. We were not responsible for the birds of the earth. We never saw it. We never brought any. But if we did not observe the birds of the earth, that's why in some of my writings I say, if we came and we never saw, if we never heard, if we never felt, if we never touched, how would we have ever imagined, let alone began to recreate from things that were already created? This is why I tell you that mortal beings are neither animals nor higher animals. Mortal beings are evolving recreatives. Because as we recreate, we evolve. And as we evolve, we recreate. That's the power given to mortal beings. But the insane, the criminals, want to reduce mortal beings to what they are not, so that they can continue to steal, they can continue to destroy, they can continue to wallow in ignorance, and in the end, they will depart like the Queen of England, alone, lonely, empty-handed, with nothing. That is the foolishness of man on earth. But Biafra is here to correct all these nonsense. So I hope that I've managed to convince you that mortal beings, because we are the carriers of the expansion of the world, we are also the carriers of the extraction of the limitless resources in the world. It is impossible for mortal beings to overpopulate this earth. For your information, the world, the earth you're seeing, the world you're seeing, the universe you're seeing, there are over 200 billions of stars in the firmament. And each of these stars, no matter how small, is bigger than the earth that we live in. The sand on this earth, the sand under the seas of this earth, no mortal being can count. Now, if you can't count it, who are you to tell us that the world is overpopulated by mortal beings? Now, if you ever feel that the world is overpopulated, please, we welcome you to take your exit, and we will not bother you again. You must be mad to think that you're here to reduce population of this world. You're mad. You're insane. You need treatment. And I must tell you that, as an advocate for humanity, I must tell you that. So you go ahead.
Oh, wow. You have done so much in this analysis. And in fact, you actually, on Monday, we're going to be having the mind surgery show. That is where, in fact, most of this is you are saying right now would actually be tabled to help Biafrans change their mindset. Your words are actually conducting surgery in the minds of Biafrans, because this is the best that can happen to any people, to receive a revitalized mindset. And this surgery on this platform is very necessary and very timely. We're going to stop the program here now, so that you can have your time to, because we don't want to take money. So you're already on 1 hour plus. On Monday, please, we'll be having you, and we're going to continue on this note. I'm going to be.
I thank you very much. Yeah, because I've got to go in the next 4 minutes, but I'm leaving now so I can prepare myself.
Yeah,
is it okay to greet you and greet the fellow Biafrans? I thank you, Kelechi, for this opportunity to engage my people. And I salute every Biafran, and I give you the blessings of God. I give you the wisdom of God. I pray that God will continue to feed and develop your minds so you can occupy your territory and take on your rights in this world. Biafrans are here not to take up anybody's right, and Biafrans are here not to allow anybody to take on their rights. Biafrans are here representing equity, justice, freedom for all humanity, so that we can learn to cooperate, to collaborate, and to work in partnership in a complementary fashion, so that the beauty of humanity can be realized to the glory of God Almighty and to the blessings of humanity. In Yeshua's name I pray. Amen. I thank you, and goodbye now. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Please make arrangement for Ken too, and all of that. And then we have you on Monday. We're going to be having him on Monday again. This is awesome. Please, I want you to share this video on all your social media platforms. For those people who have not heard, who couldn't be here to listen, let them hear this. People need to have their mind changed. On Monday, we're going to be having him again on this platform, and that program is called Mind Surgery Show. We're going to be having him here on the Mind Surgery Show on Monday. Every Monday, we have the Mind Surgery Show. He will be here live to conduct more surgery, into the minds of Biafrans. Welcome and invite other people to be part of this on Monday, 1 p.m. Biafra time, so that they can have their minds resuscitated and revitalized and rejuvenated. So this is why we do this. Every Mondays, we have the Mind Surgery Show. You're going to hear more of these teachings and questions that will prompt him to actually bring out some stuff that will actually change hearts and minds. And also tomorrow by 1 p.m. Biafra time, which is Friday, 28th of October, I'm going to be also coming on with a strong aspect of what we're doing. Remember, we're going to be starting the Why Africa program, but it's going to be from next week, Friday. But this time around tomorrow, I'm going to be talking greatly on some vital things tomorrow so we can understand this. Please share this video. And also, please like this video. Like it as you're watching it. Like it so that we can spread it. Because when you like it, also you populate, the attention, of others to have it. And also, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done that. We want to grow this page and this channel so that people can access it and begin to learn from this point. Thank you so much, everyone. And I want to say, God bless you wherever you are. May God prosper you. May God keep you. And please, these lessons you have learned, don't let them go for granted. Make sure that you take them and make sure that you implement them. Make sure you put them into action. God bless you very good. I see you again 1 p.m. tomorrow. This is Biafra Global Network. My name is Kelechi Ambrose. Thank you so much, friends. I love you all. And please share this video, like the video, and also subscribe to the channel and keep up the good work wherever you are. Make sure you're on the right path. Thank you so much. God bless you real good.